The judge found two teenage girls guilty of second-degree murder, assault, and conspiracy in the death of Reggie Brown. Brown was kicked and stomped to death last year when a total of 5 girls and a man who was never identified jumped him in an alley off Georgia Avenue.
News 4's Paul Wagner was there at the trial. He has new details from D.C. Superior Court.
Good evening. In announcing her verdict here in juvenile court today, Judge Kendra Briggs said the 2 girls on trial had chased a frail 64-year-old man down an alley, kicked him in the head while he was bleeding, and pulling his pants down around his ankles. And in a 55-second video that was recorded by one of the girls, the judge said you can hear them calling Reggie Brown a loser and that they had just killed an N-word. I could see no reaction from either girl or any of their family members while in court today. Both girls will be sentenced next month. It only took Judge Briggs a few minutes to lay out the evidence against the girls, now 13 and 14 years old. And listening intently in the courtroom, as they have for the entire trial, were Reggie Brown's sisters. The verdicts leaving them thankful, but wanting more.
We're pretty much satisfied, but we also are going to not stop until we get justice with the guy who initiated this whole thing with my younger brother.
On October 17th of last year, Reggie Brown was beaten in this alley after being dragged across Georgia Avenue by a man police call Blue Coat, a man who assaulted Reggie before the girls, according to the evidence, asked if they could help. Blue Coat has never been identified.
The people in the streets in the neighborhood, I think they do know, and I think eventually we'll find out.
During testimony in the case, one of the girls who pleaded guilty took the stand and told the court the 5 girls were out looking for someone to beat up that night because they were bored. Detective Harry Singleton testified he found Instagram messages that implicated the girls in the crime. After news broke about Brown's death, one of the girls wrote, "We's going to get locked up and we on the news." Another said, "Tell, name redacted, delete the video on her phone." Of the 5 girls charged, 3 have pleaded guilty.
When we leave here, we're going to my mom's. So we all just stay prayed up and continue to hope and pray that no other family, because another family may not be able to survive what we're going through.
Brown's sisters say they will work to change the laws in place regarding juveniles. They feel the girls found guilty today should get life for taking a life. At D.C. Superior Court, Paul Wagner, News 4.
All right, people, check this out. As you can see, I got my Hidden Leaf hoodie on because I think I have to be your guys' sensei from here on out. And I got to teach you guys how to stay alive. Here's the deal. You heard what just went down in that news report. And I want you guys to understand the first rule of combat, the first rule of anything is stay alive. I want you to think about what you just heard from the horse's mouth. These women, not even women, these 5 girls conspired because they were bored. They conspired to find somebody to beat up. All of these girls are under the age of 18. These girls was like 12 and 13. They conspired to beat somebody up. And they happened across this old man. Now, I've listened to other news reports. Apparently, this dude was like 65. He had cancer and he weighed about 120 pounds because he was, going through chemo. So they found themselves a nice, easy victim. Now, before we go into the details of this, I want you guys to just think about all the factors involved. You got 5 teenage girls. Two of them are going to do jail time, which means the other 3 probably snitched or weren't that deeply involved for what that's worth. And then you have this random grown-ass man. We'll get to that guy in a second. So just understand, this whole amalgamation of people, this is who you're dealing with when you jump up to go protect a woman. Let me explain. These people, they get bored. These girls get bored. They go out. They find a guy that they want to beat up. They're texting each other and say, hey, let's go beat somebody up. Let's go do something because they're bored. Somehow, some way, they find this grown man who begins this attack on an elderly man. Now, the first thing you got to ask yourself is, how did they know this grown man? Right? The news report doesn't say that this old man was some sort of dirty old wino who was out there harassing girls, and then the guy in the blue coat just jumped out to save them and it just got out of hand. That's not what the report is saying. If you ask me, and I've seen this kind of stuff before, one of those girls, at least one of those girls, knew that guy from somewhere. They had some kind of prior relationship with that guy. I'm not going to say that it was intimate, but let's be realistic. Girls jump off the porch very early, and there are a lot of predatory men, right? So at least one of those two girls, and I'm going to say it was probably one of the girls who got locked up. I'm not 100% sure. One of those girls knew this guy, and they called this guy, and they probably said, hey, let's beat somebody up. Somehow, some way, these girls and that guy are connected. I don't know how, but I would bet my life that there's some sort of inappropriate sexual relationship going on. Anyways, the grown man starts beating up this old man, and the girls join in. This is why I say that it was probably some sort of prior relationship, because they didn't start the attack. The guy started the attack. So one of those girls was probably sleeping with that grown man, and she says, hey, let's go do some stupid stuff. Let's go beat somebody up. The guy is a certified crash out, probably a would-be gangbanger, a druggie or something like that. He go find this old guy. He knocks him over the head. They start kicking him. They take his belt off, and they pull his pants down, trying to embarrass the old man. Just rob the man of all of his dignity. This guy ends up dying. Okay, the cops get called. These girls get called in. Yada, 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 so on and so forth. They're going to jail. Now think about this. These girls are going to go to jail at 14. The two who are going to jail, they're going to jail at 14. That means they're going to, at max, they're going to get out at 21. They're going to get out of jail in their prime, youthful, and sexual, and childbearing years. That means by the time you see them next, you're not going to know nothing about them, because they always seal juvenile records. You don't know nothing about these girls, except they're in trouble. Not the jail that they got, not the jail trouble. I'm talking about the next time you see them, they're going to be getting punched in the head by some crazy guy. Because this is the whole theme of this channel. Every time you see a woman, she's in some sort of physical danger from some other man. But if you go and you throw your life down for these women, you had no clue that these women were complete dirtbags. This is why I always tell you, don't help these women, because you don't know nothing about them. You don't know how they got in that situation, and you don't know what their life was before that. Imagine losing your life because you want to help some woman, and it turns out she was involved in killing an old man with cancer when she was 14. This is why I tell you guys not to help. You don't know nothing about their life. These women, they jump off the porch very, very early. These girls were 13. They're getting convicted now at 14, which means they did this at 12 and 13. These women, their lives are a hurricane of horrible before you meet them. Then you meet them when they're getting punched in the head by some crazy dude. And then you say to yourself, I got to go save her. Let me jump up and go save this woman. And then what happens? You get deleted. Nobody remembers your name. And it turns out this girl was a complete dirtbag. Even the girls who aren't going to jail, there's a chance that one of those girls who's not going to jail snitched and blew the whistle on the whole operation, and she was the one who had the relationship with the grown man. Right? I'm just assuming that the girls who were most involved in the attack may have had the relationship with the grown man, but it could have been the quiet ones. Psychopaths are born. They're not made, they're born. Sociopaths are made. psychopaths are born. So it could have been some girl with an inappropriate relationship with this grown man who orchestrated the whole thing and then just sank back into the background while it all went down. And then she just ratted everything out. Let's say that's the case. Now, this girl is going to get to live all of her youthful teenage years, and she's going to be going to the prom and doing all this and doing all that. And you're going to run into one of those three girls who didn't go to jail, but they were involved in this. So one of those girls could be a psychopath, and the other two are ready for stupid behavior. Like they didn't participate fully in this incident, but they're down for that kind of energy. They're down for that, right? They'll just rat on their friends. So that means if you run into one of those women in the future, you're dealing with a woman who orchestrated her own trouble. You're dealing with women who put themselves in their own danger. They put themselves in the danger, and then you go bail them out and possibly lose your life. And that's what they were involved in. Whether they were heavily involved, whether they were just kind of there, they were all involved in this. You have no clue what kind of person they are. And then you go over there and you try to save them because you see them getting beat up or something like that. And then that's what you die for? This is why I tell you, man, you don't help these women. You don't know. It's not me being against women. It's me being pro-life for men. When women choose the worst kinds of men. They choose the worst kinds of men. Like I said, one of those girls knew that grown man who attacked the older guy. They know him. So at the age of 12, 13, they're choosing the most awful men they possibly can find. What do you think is going to happen when they're 21, 22, 25? They're only going to choose worse and worse men. Why? Well, why did they do the crime? Because they were bored and they thought beating someone up, they thought violence and criminal activity would be fun. So think about that. When they're 21, 22, whatever, 18, 19, when they come of age, they're going to choose criminals because they think crime is fun. They're showing you early on that they think crime is fun. So what's going to happen? They're going to choose a criminal. They're going to live the crime life. It's going to be fun and exciting because they're not going to be the ones doing the crime. Just like in this situation, the girls didn't do the overwhelming majority of the violence. The grown man did. But he, in this situation, got away. In real time, and when they're adults, mostly what's going to happen is the man is going to do all of the crime. He's going to be the overwhelming perpetrator, and she's just going to sit there and reap the benefits or enjoy the excitement of the crime. It's just like when the drug dealer goes to jail. The woman he was sleeping with, his wife or his baby mom, she knew. She was enjoying the fruits of his, dubious labor. She knew, but she doesn't go to jail. Women typically escape penalty and consequence. In this situation, the man was able to escape the penalty and the consequence, and the women got locked up. But when they get older, they're going to choose the worst kind of men that they can find, and then they're going to be the ones escaping the danger. They're going to be the ones escaping the crime, and then you go save them. This is why I'm telling you, man. Women don't accidentally find horrible people. It's never an accident when they find this psychopath. It's never an accident when they find the drug dealer or the axe murderer or whoever. This is why I tell you, don't help them. They chose it. Every bad thing that man was, they saw it up front. Women do not choose to date men that they don't see any benefit from. So the guy that they got with that's going upside their head and doing all this stuff to them, that man showed them up front some sort of benefit, whether it was money, whether he was just extremely good looking, whether he had social clout, whether he was like a criminal and he had this really exciting life. Something drew her to that. Like a moth to a flame, she was drawn to that. She wanted that. She chose that. And now it's getting out of hand. And she was looking for a way out. And when you go save her and get taken off the census, then what? And you didn't know that she was involved in this kind of activity. You didn't know that she was a dirtbag since daggum 6th grade. 12 and 13 and 14 years old, they are conspiring to kill a man. And they're not going to do life. That's the worst part. They're not going to do life. They get out of jail in their prime sexual years, and they get to fool more men, and they get to hurt more people. And that's what women do. And keep in mind, this is not all women. This is not me hating women. This is not all women. I like to do a scholastic average. Let's say 70% of women are like this and 30% aren't, right? It takes 70% to pass a class. So I call it a scholastic average. Let's just say 70% of women, 70% of people are bad. 70% of women you should not be helping, but you don't know the good from the bad. So that's why I tell you, don't help nobody, bro. It's not worth it, and it's not fair to the people who they're hurting. Let karma, God, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, let that take its place. Let women choose better men. You have to choose good women. You have to choose to put yourself in a good situation in life. So why would you take yourself out of a situation and put yourself into danger for somebody who could very possibly be a psychopath, a person who just has a proclivity for criminals, or just a dubious person? Your life matters. Your mom loves you. Your dad loves you. There's people in your life who love you. And if there's nobody who loves you, let me be the first one to say, I love you enough to tell you that tomorrow, you don't know what tomorrow has for you, and you're worthy of good things if you work for them, if you fight for them. And there's a certain level of bad decisions that people are going to make that you have to avoid. Women, when it comes to men, you got to avoid their bad decisions. Live your life, achieve your dreams, have what you want, have what you're deserving of, love your family, come home to your family, and have some damn self-respect to not throw your life away for some woman who could not give a... She couldn't care less about you, bro. From middle school, they jump off the porch with this kind of behavior. And you're going to throw your life away when you either do have so much to give, you are doing so much, you might have already achieved things, or you might have small kids, or you might have the ability to do whatever. You don't know what a day might bring, but you throw your life away for that. I'm not going to ramble on and on. I just want you guys to understand it's not always about making a bad decision just in that moment when it comes to not helping women. A lot of times they deserve that stuff. A lot of times they come from that kind of background. And it would be awful if you threw your life away and then your family found out that that's what you threw your life away for. I'm not saying people can't change, but I'm damn sure saying people choose their lot in life. So it is what it is. Take it how you will. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll get back at you on the next one. Peace.